What's up, everybody? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron, and today we're going over my top 10 best albums of 2025. And by best albums, I really mean my favorite albums. I'm going to be letting you know the scores I gave each one of these. And some of them are going to be high, but they're not going to be that high up on the list. Just because an album is a 10 out of 10 doesn't necessarily mean it's my favorite or I got the most enjoyment out of it, especially as the year goes on. Some albums, I end up liking one a little bit more than the other, and just because I gave it a higher score doesn't really necessarily mean I enjoyed it more. It's more based off of just how good I thought the music was or the production or whatever. And if for some reason there's not an album that's that you think should be on this list, there's a good chance, one, it isn't on here because I didn't listen to it, I didn't review it, or two, it's because I like these more. And if that really upsets you, like it might for some of you, then you can go and make your own video, I guess. But anyways, let's jump into it because this is going to be a long one. Coming in at number 10, we have Sleep Tokens, Even in Arcadia, which is going to piss off two different groups of people on either side. People who are pissed off that it's not higher up on the list, or people who are pissed off that it's on this list at all. You either love them or hate them. To me, this was a fantastic record. I really enjoyed how Vessel found a way to continue the Sleep Token lore of worshiping sleep while also continuing this issue of being doxxed, where I believe it was the bass player had his birth certificate released and how people call out Vessel's real name in the audience, which is, I can't imagine what that would be like, and how he deals with imposter syndrome in this way of hiding his true identity was also kind of a way for him to deal with that, where he could go on stage and if he has a bad performance, Vessel had a bad performance. But now if he has a bad performance, people look at the actual person, and it takes a little bit more of a personal hit for him, I believe. My main issue with this album, despite it having some of the best lyrics they've ever written, where they're able to combine those two, is it's just so formulaic. I don't even mind the hip-hop poppy sections that people tend to hate. I actually enjoy them quite a bit because I feel like they're so well done. My issue is just, it's the same thing over and over again. It's synth or piano in the intro or the first verse, and then halfway through the first verse, the drums come in. Halfway through verse 2, or either in chorus 2, the distorted guitars come in. It sounds beautiful. It works. I really enjoyed it, but it does become kind of boring and predictable. And it's one of the reasons why I gave it a 7.7 out of 10 instead of something higher. It was very predictable. They didn't put a whole lot of effort into the actual songwriting, but still, like I said, I enjoyed this so much, it had to be on here. At number 9, we have Signs of the Swarm, To Rid Myself of Truth, which I gave a 8.9 out of 10. And putting this album so low on the list, because this was like an album of the year contender, it hurts me. It exceeded all expectations. The flow was perfect. It starts off pissed off and heavy. It winds down once you get more towards the middle, but it doesn't really kill off any momentum. Specifically with the song Forced to Fight, you could feel it starting to come down. And then it finishes the album off with three of the most brilliant deathcore songs written, at least in the 2020s. I would say, sure, the 2010s had some better stuff, but it's just so perfect. And the fact that they stacked all three of them at the end was a brilliant idea. I do get why people don't like this band, and it does stand out to me a little bit more here too, is that they're just a little too deathcore tropey in the sense where they do the things that everybody in deathcore does, which kind of hurts their songwriting, because instead of trying to think of something more creative to do, they just fall back on this idea that's been done over and over again. And also, the production was a little too cloudy for me in this one. The vocals, which always kind of blend in with everything else, blended in just a little too much. I love the vocals from this band, and I felt like it would have been better if they were a little bit more out in front. But still, outside of that, I can't stop listening to this album. At number 9, we have the Acacia Strain, You Are Safe from God Here. I gave this one an 8.8 out of 10. Like I said, just because it's a higher rating doesn't mean it's going to be higher up on the list. So this one was able to beat out Signs of the Swarm because I did enjoy it more. And again, this one hurts putting them so low on the list because it's another favorite deathcore band of mine. They seem to continue a lot of the sounds that they had on their double album thing, where they have like a bunch of short songs equaling about 25 minutes long, and then they finish the album off with a 14-minute proggy doomy banger. All of the short songs are sweet and to the point, and I really enjoyed that they did not blend together. I mean, lots of times when you have short songs, like you start listening to more slam and grind kind of stuff, it's just all the same. After a while you become numb to it, and I don't really feel like that happens here. My main issue with this is that some of those shorter songs don't really explore enough dynamics for me. Like, it does kind of feel like they are doing the same thing over and over and over again, even though it is very, very enjoyable. But the end of this album is super dramatic. It's very theatrical, which I enjoyed a lot. In all honesty, it really does feel like they just took their double album and did that again, but this time made the second album a lot shorter, down to 14 minutes, and just slammed it all into one thing. And it works really well, and the themes are fantastic. Everything, vocals are some of the best there are. I love this one. And coming in at number 7, we have Spiritbox Tsunami. I give this a 9.6 out of 10. It was my highest rating all year, and it didn't even crack the top 5. I don't like Spiritbox, if I'm going to be completely honest, but not in the same way that a lot of you don't like Spiritbox, or, you know, people don't like it. I don't like how every time they release something, it makes me dread going on the internet, because you get all those people that just love everything they do and can't stop talking about it, and then you got all those other people that hate everything they do, and they don't like how everybody talks about it, but they post about how they don't like it. And in the same way of posting about how they don't like it, they are talking about it. They are who they hate, but they don't even realize it at that moment. Anyways, this album is near perfect to me. They tried different songwriting styles and sounds, and I feel like it worked out. There's a lot of maturity here within this album compared to the last one. And even though I didn't care for the different vocal effects and the electrical elements that were added in, it doesn't sound bad. And even though it's not like super heavy, they still tried it and it worked. And I know a lot of people only like Spiritbox when they're super heavy, but I feel like taking a step back from that and trying something different helped them a little bit more creativity wise. And I think it worked. I love this album. I still listen to it all the time. And even though it's the highest rated one, there's still a lot more albums I enjoyed more. And then coming in at number 6, which is going to piss a lot more people off, we have Lorna Shores. I feel the ever black festering within me. I gave it an 8.8 out of 10. I loved this record. To me, the themes aren't as concepty as The Pain Remains, which I was hoping for, and I just loved so much. I adored that album. But at the same time, it's far from perfect. A lot of the songs off of Pain Remains sound very much the same. Something I was afraid that they were going to fall into, using their synth and just every single type of trope that they've kind of fallen into for themselves. And it did become a little bit of a problem on this album, but not nearly as bad as I was expecting. And the mix and the songwriting on this is just so good. The mix is, to me, more in favor of the band and the vocals than it is the synth and the different type of theatrical kind of stuff that they throw into their music. And I love it. I think they did so good on this one, considering the trap that they could fall into. I feel like they did a really good job at writing something that doesn't sound like just a copy of The Pain Remains, and instead it sounds like the band is moving forward. Coming in at number 5, we have Whitechapel, Hymns of Dissonance, which I gave it 8.2 out of 10. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I wanted to give this one Album of the Year. This one was my number 1 for a very long time, at least half of the year. I don't know. I like I said, my emotions and feelings toward other albums go up and down, and this is one that sat at the top. Every time I listen to something, like, it doesn't beat Hymns of Dissonance, though. It doesn't do it. Their last 2 albums saw them trying out some different stuff. The Valley is just, it's so good. It's such a good album. Fantastic. Kin, I didn't care for it that much, if I'm going to be honest. I know a lot of people love that album. I get it. But it had too many Tool-esque kind of stuff. It was like if Tool decided to write a deathcore album, and I just didn't vibe with it. I didn't understand it. It was super deep. It was trying to be a lot deeper and a lot more serious, and I couldn't get into it. And then we have Hymns and Dissonance, which just threw all of that away, and they wrote up a straight up deathcore album, and it is a thing of absolute beauty. The songs do get a little repetitive, but who cares? They sound so freaking good anyways. The theme is cool, and it just got rid of all their super deep, thought-provoking, emotional, deep searching within yourself kind of thing that Phil was doing, which, I mean, it's good that he's doing that, but I mean, Whitechapel in 2025 wrote a just straight up heavy balls to the wall deathcore album about a guy summoning stuff and bringing about the apocalypse. And it is, like I said, it is perfect. If you think this should be album of the year, you're absolutely right. It should be, but I still enjoyed 4 albums a little more than this one. Coming in at number 4, the Callous Boys. I don't want to see you in heaven. I give this a 9.3 out of 10. And if I'm going to be honest, it probably pisses a lot of people off that this isn't number 1. These next 4 albums were impossible for me to put at number 1 and what order to put them in. And honest, I question myself even to this day if I got it right. I have no idea. But it really came down to what I found myself listening to the most. I feel like on this album, they really stretched their creativity. It's not nearly as psychotic as Celebrity Therapist, which is an absolute win for me. But there's like a happy medium to the chaotic mess and being insanely catchy. Twin-Headed Trout was like my 3rd most listened to song in 2025. I could not stop. The hook, the emotion, the vocal performance, jumping the freaking octave in verse 2. I can't get enough of it. I still found myself going to just a couple more songs off of this album instead of putting on the whole record, though. And to me, that's why I felt like this one was a solid number 4, because the other 3 I listened to just a little bit more. And kicking off the top 3, we have the Psycho Frame. Salvation laughs in the face of a grieving mother. I give this one a 9.1 out of 10. And holy crap, for a debut album, this is so freaking good. They made things very hard on themselves, though, because anything they do after this is going to be compared to this near perfect record. The dueling vocals are absolutely addicting, and the themes are just so brutal without being cringy, which I feel like is a really hard thing to do, especially for a band that's just getting their feet in the door. They're getting their little toesies wet, and I feel like they've already mastered writing lyrics that are heavy, in your face, and really angry and kind of aggressive without sounding like Attila, which I feel like could be very hard to do. The mix of old school deathcore and modern deathcore and death metal is absolutely perfect for me. There's just a lot of hidden gems thrown in it. Like, there's some slam influences. It's all like woven perfectly into this top tier album. This is another one. It was number 1 as soon as I listened to it. And to this day, it's hard. It's hard for me to say if it's not a true number 1 or not. So if you think this one's number 1, again, you're right. This is a solid album. And coming in at number 2, which I question still right now if it should be number 1 or not, we have Greyhaven. Just keep it quiet, man. It's 9.2 out of 10. This band just keeps getting better and better and better and better. They're like the Callous Boys, but they're not as crazy. They're slightly more catchy, and to me, that's all just a plus. I enjoy the chaos of mathcore and whatever it is the Callous Boys are. I enjoy that, but listening to a full album, anything more than like 35, 40 minutes of it, I can't. And I feel like Greyhaven brought it down just enough, the post-hardcore kind of thing, just enough to just make me fall in love with them. This album is something I can listen to every single day. The clean vocals mixed with the guitars and the hooks are just so addicting. The hooks, there's like 100 hooks on this album, and it makes you want to sing along the entire time. I can't, like I said, it probably should be tied for number 1 because of how much I love it. Before we get on to the number 1 album of the year, I have 2 honorable mentions. The first one is Mugshot, All the Devils Are Here. I gave it an 8.8 out of 10. This album is straight up heavy, start to finish. It's pretty much as good as any album on this list. I just like the other ones a little bit more. It's kind of sad because they're fairly unknown. I feel like this band should be a lot bigger. If you are interested in hardcore kind of deathcore stuff, give them a listen. They are fantastic. The vocals are really good, especially when the guitar player lends in his vocal screams. It just catches you off guard every time. It's fantastic. Then we have a 1056 IO, which I gave this one an 8.3 out of 10. The same thing can pretty much be said about this band. They're heavy. They're not quite as raw, I feel like, as Mugshot, but they stand out in their own way. They implement a lot of unique styles. To me, it gives them a little bit more variety than Mugshot. I don't know, they're just a little bit different. That's the only way to explain 1056. I know a lot of people view this as the album of the year, which it is. Like I said, it's just as good as any other album on this list. I just enjoyed these other ones more. My number one bestest, toppest album of 2025, which a lot of you, if you know me and you've been watching my channel for a while, you know what it is. You know, I mentioned it a lot. I said it was my favorite, even though every once in a while I would say I like these other albums more or that album more. There's only one album that truly holds my little heart and its delicate little gentle fingers, and that is Imperium Delirium by Shadow of Intent. I gave it a 9.3 out of 10, and they did just about everything right on this album. Just about. They didn't get a 10 out of 10, but I mean, it's hard for me to imagine this is getting any better. They backed off on the synth, letting the lead guitar create a little bit more atmosphere. My main issue that kept it from being a 10 out of 10, very much like Melancholy was, which is basically the only 10 out of 10 rating I've ever given on this channel, is the lack of riffs. The riffs would have been just a little bit juicier. It would have been so much better. And because the songs do tend to blend together a little bit more, but still 9.3 out of 10 proves that this is a pretty big deal. It's easily album of the year for me. Ben is still the best vocalist. I don't care what anybody says, and their ability to write songs just never loses its charm. They always put a smile on my face, and they're matched by none. I mean, they're so good. When I saw that they released a new single for this album, Black Flag, I lost. It's one of the only bands where I will stop doing whatever it is I'm doing and listen to it. August Burns Red, Coheed and Cambria, Era, those can sometimes get me to do that. And those are favorite bands as well. But Shadow of Intent releases something. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'll turn off my shower and I'll put that bad boy on. I have to listen to it. So yeah, like I said, a lot of you probably saw this one coming, but it was still a struggle. I still love all these albums so much. In the top 4, any given day, it could be a number 1, if I'm going to be honest. That is it for my top 10 albums of 2025. If I missed anything that you guys think should be on this list, chances are I probably didn't listen to it. So leave a comment below letting me know what your top 10 list is, what your top 5, 3 list, whatever. Maybe I'll discover some cool stuff and other people will too. That's kind of the whole point in this channel, more or less than anything else. Not so much to just bash on stuff or tell you to, that this is the best. It's more like, hey, check this out. I love this. Check it out. What do you love? That's mostly what this channel is. And I thank you guys so much for a great year of watching my videos and hanging out with me, talking about music. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. It helps out so much with YouTube's algorithm, and it'll push my video to other people who have the same musical interests that you do. It does a lot. It goes further than any of us truly know. YouTube's algorithm is insane. Also, if you don't want to miss out on any of my future videos, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell icon. I'm only like 480 subscribers away from 2,000, which is incredible that there's that many people subscribed and watching my videos. And I just thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to listen to me sit here and talk about music. I hope you have a good rest of your day or night whenever you have me watching this, and I will talk to you guys next time.